Well, drain the swamp. It's been the stated goal of conservative leaders for a while now, but how exactly does that happen? Where do we start? Former FBI agent turned whistleblower Steve Friend says to start with his former employer, that, of course, the FBI. Republicans have become increasingly concerned about illegal FISA searches, aggressive arrest tactics, the targeting of parents at school board meetings, and other conservative groups like, well, ordinary Catholics, for example. The institution has deemed all of those people a security threat. Some say we should defund or abolish the FBI. Steve says there's another option: disarm the agency and force it into partnership with local law enforcement. Joining me now, former FBI agent, author of True Blue, Steve Friend. Steve, thank you for being here.
Great to see you.
So, what do you mean disarm them? You mean like take their guns away and make them ride shotgun and take notes? What do you mean?
I think we need to return the FBI to what it originally was. And yesterday, the FBI celebrated its birthday, but it's a little bit of a deception because the first 10 to 20 years of the FBI's existence, they were unarmed. They were a Bureau of Investigation that partnered with local law enforcement. And I see there's no reason why we can't return it to those roots. And that way it'll be a little bit more palatable to our elected Republicans who are afraid of being cast as a defund the police politician. And the FBI can aid those local agencies in a way that they see fit and deem fit and approve of. So that way there's a bulwark against an out-of-control weaponized FBI who's going after its political enemies.
Yeah. How would you see that working in practical application? Tell me how you would see that rolled out in cities and states. I mean, look, the FBI has done some remarkable work in a variety of places over the course of my lifetime. You know that. You were there. And some incredible agents, some incredible tools, the ability to solve missing persons or cold cases or whatever it may be, get to the bottom of the Boston bombing, things like that. But then when politics gets involved, it just goes off the rails. But how would you see that being instituted, applied?
Well, you have to begin with appropriations and have the Office of Personnel Management create a new position that's an unarmed criminal investigator, and then force the FBI to gain the approval of a local agency in order to conduct an investigation. And then we have a proof of concept when it comes to actually using armed personnel, and that is in the form of task force officers who do work for the FBI. And these are regular detectives for police departments and sheriff's offices. And these guys bring a lot of experience and knowledge about what's going on in their communities. And they go to the United States Marshal's office, and they are federally deputized as federal agents in conjunction with their state arrest authority. So you have a best of both worlds situation there, because those are the guys that can enforce local crime and federal crime. And then I think when it comes time to actually effecting the arrest, the approval should come from the agency itself again. And the guys that go do that, the SWAT team, if you even need one, is going to come from the local agency. And the FBI can back them up with advanced technology and with resources that's always brought to bear with these local agencies. But the actual knowledge and the competence when it comes to carrying forward investigation, there's a wealth of that at the local level.
Yeah, but does your concern go higher? Because for me, it does. It's not just the FBI. It is the entire Department of Justice that is suspect. Now, you look back at James Comey and Christopher Wray and the people that have been allowed to serve at the behest of the Department of Justice in many ways, certainly at the appointment of the president. But the DOJ currently, especially with what we witnessed yesterday, the Delaware disaster for Hunter Biden, the DOJ being called right out going, you can't give a deal like that by the judge. Remarkable, but true. And it shows the DOJ for being in the bag, too, and incompetent or weaponized or whatever term you want to use, right?
I agree with you. And the DOJ is this whole other animal that has to be addressed from the top on down. But the good thing about bringing the FBI to heel is that the cases that are actually going to be brought forward to the DOJ are going to be limited by your local law enforcement agencies at that point. There's not going to be an investigation of anybody at the assignment or the behest of a DOJ that's out of control, because that authority will fall to the doctrine of the lesser magistrate, to the elected official who is most accountable to his constituents, and he can stand there in the gap against a DOJ or an FBI that is going to target its political enemies.
Yeah. All right, so I don't think your idea is going to get much traction under the Biden administration. This is why Americans have to take back their country. And the only way to do it is at the ballot box. I realize a lot of people don't trust that anymore. But there's no other way to get there in the near future, right? I mean, you have to win elections at the local level, the state level, and at the federal level to enact change that matters. What else would you suggest?
I agree with you on that. I think elections have consequences, and certainly with the upcoming election in 2024, that's very important. But the good thing is that the Republicans took the House in 2022. They have the power of the purse strings. My proposal could be implemented through the budget appropriations, the negotiation that's going to go on here as we approach the end of the fiscal year. And if they were actually serious about implementing major reforms of the FBI, it's at their fingertips. The Republicans have the power, and I think I've presented a fair way that they can avoid the label of being defund the police and still bring the FBI into their control.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, Steve Friend, thank you for being here as always. Greatly appreciate your insights on this matter. We'll keep an eye on it. I agree with your points. Time to bring the FBI back into alignment with law and order in this country and not being a rogue agency, which many of us see that it is. Sir, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, after the break, the question about whether or not UFOs are real. Discussed at a congressional hearing. That story, it's coming next on America's Voice Live. Don't go anywhere.